Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Love Coach in My Pocket podcast, where we talk about all things dating and relationships. And today we're going to be talking about something very near and dear to my heart, which is how to be discerning in dating. And there is a big difference between being discerning and being judgmental. And unfortunately, most people have no idea what the difference is. So I am so excited for this episode today. Hi, this is Whitney Kobrin, dating and relationship expert and love coach, welcoming you to the Love Coach in My Pocket podcast, where we talk about all sorts of things related to dating and relationships in this crazy modern world. Thanks for joining us. I hope you loved the episode, and please leave us a review. So first of all, what is judgment, right? What is judgment? When we are judging other people, we judge ourselves, we judge our circumstances. We decide if it's right or wrong, good or bad. And it's very confusing because we need to make decisions when we're dating. We need to make a decision about whether somebody is good for us or bad for us. But when we judge them, we're saying that they're good or bad, period. And you know what? It is not our job to make those decisions about everyone. So that's where discernment comes into play, because discernment is about making a conscious decision. So when we're in our judge, also known as our inner critic, we are emotional, right? We're exasperated, or we're upset, or we're angry, or we're disappointed. And we don't want to feel those kind of feelings. And that usually takes over our dating life. So if you're out there and you're swiping and you're dating and you're getting really annoyed, like, ugh, another awful profile. What's wrong with these people? Why are they so awful? It's like a poison inside of you that doesn't feel good, that we are feeding and encouraging with every negative comment we make about somebody's profile, with every time that we screenshot and send a disappointing profile. We're just fanning the flames of our own inner critic and all the negative emotions that come with it. I want to tell you a little story too. So one of my former clients came to me and said that she went on a date with a guy and he wore sneakers to the date. Tennis shoes, sneakers, trainers, whatever you want to call them. She was not turned on by this. And so she judged him and said, I will never see him again because he wore sneakers to the date. And what I encourage you to do when you find yourself getting into judgment is to be curious. Curiosity can take the place of this emotional, judgmental part that we all have. And the problem with just judging somebody is that we're often assuming. And you know the saying, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. And I totally agree with that. We need to ask the question. We need to clarify. She could have been curious and asked him, oh, I see that you're dressed really casual today. Tell me about that. That's all she needed to say. And then she can get more information to know that maybe this guy doesn't even own a pair of dress shoes and never dresses up. And so they have very different lifestyles. And that's a fair enough reason to not want to date someone if you have very different lifestyles. But when we don't ask and we're not curious, we miss out on a lot of information. Maybe he was rushed. Maybe he's in the process of moving. Like, we have no idea what the real answer is until we get curious and ask. And that allows us to be discerning, because we do need to make decisions. We do need to determine if somebody is somebody that we could see ourselves with in the long run, or at least could I go on one more date with this person? Do I like them enough? Are they being kind enough? Is their personality a fit enough? And so I want to give you some tips to help you get out of the inner critic, this emotional, judgmental side of you that isn't really helpful because it brings up so much negative emotion when we're experiencing it. And instead, shift your mindset into being discerning. So the first thing is that discernment is present-minded. We're not stuck in our past. We're not in the future. We're present. So when I look at a photo, if I'm not present, then I might go into autopilot. And let's say that I had an ex that had the same shirt that this guy has in his photo. And so immediately my subconscious brain says, no way, he's just like my ex. Well, is that present-minded? Is that level-headed? Does that really make sense? Are you really sure that this is a horrible match for you because of the shirt he's wearing? Probably not. So we need to practice being present-minded. And one of the ways we can do this is through a mindfulness practice. My favorite mindfulness practices are not just silent meditation, which is great and serves its purpose, but it's to tune into your senses. So noticing what you can touch, what you feel, what you smell, what you hear, and noticing what you see in a lot of detail. When you get really present to your body's senses and how you sense the world around you, it brings you into a state of calm, cool, level-headedness where you can make the right decisions or take the next action. I also am a big fan of practicing embodiment. So embodiment, getting out of your head and getting into your body, will help you to feel your emotions, process your emotions, and again, help you stay level-headed so that you're making decisions that are right for you and not just being emotionally, impulsively judgmental. Another tip for having good discernment is to be clear on the relationship that you're looking for. So I am going to do a whole episode about creating a love intention and dating with intention. I will do that one next for our next episode. But what most people do is create a list of things that they need in a partner. And sometimes this list can get pretty out of hand. And they have to be 6'2" and have this and this and this and this and this. And then you could meet a guy that has all the things on that list, and yet he doesn't treat you well, or he is not that into you, or he's not looking for the same kind of long-term relationship that you are. So it's really important that you get clear not only on the kind of person that you want to be with, but more so the type of relationship that you want. Get clear on how you want to feel in that relationship and what you want to do together and how you want to spend your time together, because that will be a better guide along the way to make decisions about who you want to meet or not, who you want to go on another date with or not. You want to see how well they align with the relationship that you want, because how you feel about a person can change over time, right? You could be really excited about someone and they seem amazing, and then as you get to know them, you find out that they don't have a great character, right? They're not very loyal. They're not very honest. Those are more important than just having a spark or a chemistry or being attracted. Because if they are attractive and then you find out their character is not good, you'll end up less attracted. Hopefully, right? Because that's not the kind of person that you want to be with long term. But attraction can also grow. So if you are on the fence about somebody, and this I think is especially true for women about men, because, men typically are more visual and they really are attracted to a woman's beauty and physical appearance. And for women, it's like, we just need a guy to be attractive enough. If he's a 3 on a scale of 1 to 10 to you, then that may never turn into somebody that you're attracted to. But if he's like a 7, and then you find out that he has excellent character, he's honest, he's loyal, he has the same intentions as you, he's consistent, he is caring, then your attraction can grow massively. So we want to give it time. Hollywood has really given us the impression that love at first sight exists, that we should just have this amazing feeling. And oftentimes those feelings are anxiety or something similar, just nerves. So being discerning means that you have a clear idea of what you're looking for in a relationship. And that's what you use as your guide and determining whether somebody is going to get to the next stage with you. Practice mindfulness, practice embodiment, tune into your body's feelings and sensations, listen to your gut instinct. It will be more insightful and wise than what we come up with in our head when we're judging people or listing out pros and cons and all of those things. Because we want to be level-headed and intentional with our dating. Discernment means that we can say no. So this also relates to your ability to have boundaries. And boundaries are not just the deal breakers of what you won't put up with, but boundaries can include your preferences, your desires, what you would like to happen. It's also how we teach other people how to treat us. So a lot of times we will make judgments about whether somebody is walking on the right side of the street to protect us, or whether they walk us to our car or open the restaurant door or pull our chair out. And yes, I love chivalry, and I love when a guy just has been trained well and knows how to do this. But I also understand that sometimes we need to teach the guy that this is how we want to be treated. And so instead of just judging a guy and saying, well, he didn't open the door for me, so I don't think this is going to go anywhere, you can stop yourself in front of the door and say, oh, well, don't I feel silly standing here waiting for you to open my door? What do you think he's going to do? He's going to go in and open the door for you, and then he knows that that's what you need, that that's what you expect. And so it is these little things that we do to train somebody how to treat us. And of course, along the way, if at some point we tell them what we need and they can't do it, then that gives us clarity too. It gives us a clear answer. It's not just us judging them as a bad person, not trained well, whatever it is that we're judging from them. So we need to have boundaries. We need to understand our goals and intentions, and we need to make decisions about who we will put up with and who we will not put up with, what kind of behavior we will tolerate, and what kind of behavior we won't. But we need to really look at what is the most important thing. What are the priorities? It's not just about how successful somebody is or how attractive they are. And let's face it, that's what modern dating has taught us lately, is that what's important is how attractive somebody is, right? Or maybe even how convenient and available they are. And we need to come back to our senses and realize what really is important is someone's character, who they are inside, how they're going to show up for you during hard times, how they respond to your requests and boundaries, and really make conscious, intentional, discerning decisions, not just snap judgments about a hat that they're wearing or what footwear they're wearing or a word they chose. I often hear from women too that a guy might try to open up and be vulnerable. And this is really a fine line to walk in dating, because we don't want to trauma dump. We don't want to dump out all of our traumas and history and, oh, this happened to me and this happened to me and I have all this drama and trauma. Obviously, that's not going to be fun for anybody to go through. And typically, don't talk about your exes on a first date. Don't talk about religion and politics. But you do want to be able to be vulnerable and open up a little bit. So when somebody starts to open up and tell you something personal, let's have a little bit of softness and compassion and understanding to hear that and receive that in the present moment. You don't have to make the decision about, am I going to be with this person 10 years from now? Because, let's say they said they had a bankruptcy in their past and maybe it was a while ago, so they've gotten kind of out of it now. And you just automatically want to judge them as a bad person. Well, we need more information. We need to be curious. We need to find out if that's really their defining characteristic, or if they have done something really interesting and impressive to come out of that, to stand up again. So we want to have some vulnerable conversation in our dating. That's what helps us to get to somebody's heart, to get to their inside, to really know what makes them tick, because that's so much more important than the shallow things. I love the book Deeper Dating by Ken Page. The subtitle is How to Drop the Games of Seduction and Discover the Power of Intimacy. Why you don't have to act perfect. Now I'm doing this off memory, so look perfect, something to find real love. And he really encourages us to be vulnerable, to open up, to let people know more than just this facade that we tend to put on for our first date, right? Of, oh, everything's great. Yeah, I'm wonderful. And then as the dating process goes on, we begin to discover more about a person. So we don't want to be drinking from the fire hose and dumping all of these things, but we can sprinkle in a little bit of personal, emotional information about ourselves, stories that make you feel something. Anything you can talk about that makes you light up and get excited is also great. But just when someone starts to be vulnerable with you, I really encourage you to stay present in the moment, to listen to them and allow them to open up a little bit. And then you can always set a boundary and say, well, wow, that was deep for a first date. Maybe we can take the conversation a little lighter, and then you can change the conversation. But I'm getting really tired of how judgmental everybody is being in the dating process. And it really shows that people are being really judgmental with themselves. They're judging themselves. They're criticizing themselves. I hear from women all the time that are so disappointed. They say, I thought by this age I would be here, I would have this, I would have kids. And then they're judging themselves based on their own expectations of themselves. We need to be flexible and adaptable because life is dynamic and sometimes it doesn't turn out the way that we think it should. So yes, be discerning. Be aware of your own value and what you deserve. There is a lot of pee in the swimming pool of the dating pool. Like, we know there's a lot of people that are mean, that are rude, that are undateable, that are mentally ill, that are rude. And the quicker you can just make the decision to not talk to them, block them, move on, so that you can find somebody that does have some character. And don't let all of that negativity distract you, knowing that there are good people out there. So stop judging and start discerning. I hope this was helpful for you. Tune in next time when we talk about dating with intention.